Clarity is on the verge, and today we're going to be breaking down how a rally may ensue. All of this news coming out, we'll break it down. Let's get into it. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is iTrust Capital. This is where you guys can get into a crypto IRA. One of the things you can do with a crypto IRA is start to diversify your portfolio. And I know a lot of you are probably considering, how do I do that? What is the best way to start? Well, the easiest thing to do is just get it going. Whether you select digital assets, gold, silver, all of that is available over on your crypto IRA through iTrust Capital. And of course, you can sign up using our link. It's going to give you a $100 funding reward just to get started. Check it out. I think this is one of those things this time of year, which by the way, you can still do this before the tax deadline next week and still take advantage of that for last year being 2025. So check it out. Use our link. It does help the channel. All right, I'm going to bring in Tim Warren, who comes in usually on Fridays to break down the market. No different today. We're going to look a lot of things, Tim. You've got, first of all, welcome into the show. How are you?
Doing good. Very glad to be here again.
Yeah. So we've got some news this week, though. Might have a little bit of a move. You've got CPI, of course, now rising to 3.3, but this is below the expectation of 3.4. You also had core coming in at 2.6, which also hit below of the 2.7 mark. And you consider that where CPI is, but also just in general, how we haven't seen the explosion in inflation that I think a lot of people were anticipating. And do you feel like that has had a little bit of an impact on markets, that we haven't seen a pullback below the 60K on Bitcoin? Or do you think it's, no, everybody's just going to hold and wait and see what happens in Iran?
Well, I think a combination. I think you're waiting to see what happens in Iran. You're waiting to see what happens. Does the Clarity Act bill actually go through or not? Of course, those are the two big catalysts that affect crypto. Even when you think about inflation, this is the reason why I don't think inflation is going out of control. And I wasn't expecting it to get out of control, is because we got to remember, it's not like we're talking about inflation, this number, talking about what price was worth 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. This is simply just compared to last year. But what was happening last year? Tariffs, right? So the tariff fears start coming in. People dramatically raised their prices last year. So yeah, like the price isn't that much higher than last year, because last year there was a massive price hike, and we haven't yet seen the ripple effects. A lot of people had their deals in order before this increase in gas prices. So I think we actually could see inflation pop up later this summer as the gas prices have a delayed effect on other goods and services. But I'm not surprised the inflation is not high, because again, last year was the year for it to be high. And a lot of times with the tariffs, it can offset future inflation when you have a nasty spike in a one-time zone.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think confidence is the key. And whether or not traders have confidence in the market as it is right now, I want to play a clip for you. It might give us some insight. Take a look.
But European equities have not risen on a Friday since the Iran war began, and yet we have European futures pointing a little higher, Asian stocks going higher. Explain to us a little bit about the risk appetite we see in markets this morning.
And particularly this weekend, there's a lot of risk with the talks starting in Islamabad. If we come in on Monday morning and things have gone badly, then obviously we could see some pretty nasty moves given the gains that we've seen this week, and vice versa. What I do think is that you've got a reasonably positive backdrop as far as the market is concerned going into this talks. It does seem that Israel is going to talk with Lebanon. That's been taken as a positive by the market. It does seem that fewer missiles, at least, are flying around the Middle East. That's also being seen as a reasonable positive. And so that mood music, at least, is leaning just a little bit more in favor at the moment, and giving the chance for European equities maybe to grind out a gain today.
All right, so the potential here is good. It could be, especially after this weekend, if we get a little bit of looseness in the Middle East. And then, Tim, if you look at this is bull theory. Bitcoin reclaiming 73, ETH reclaims 2250. Bitcoin's 10% up in the last 8, ETH respectively 12% up. When you look at the chart on Bitcoin right now, and in comparison to ETH, how would you play this? Would you go into both assets? Are you playing ETH versus Bitcoin? Give me an idea of where you're going with this.
Yeah, it's been back and forth with a lot of things going on. There's a little bit of a misdirection move that happened here recently. We can go ahead and look at my chart here, and I'll show you. I've been on your show before. Take a look at this yellow line, right? A lot of people, I was one of them, but a lot of other analysts as well, believed that yellow line was the key support to watch, right? So you can see here several candles bounced on that line, and then we finally broke through. But I was on your show, I think, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and we talked about this line, how there was a potential this could hold up. Sure enough, it did. We started to bounce. My indicator started giving me some buy signals in here. So we actually, in our community, entered a swing long that we have some of our take profits all the way up here at 77, above 77,000, back towards that red line of resistance. What I'm watching right now, I'm actively in a swing long. But if I go to the hourly chart, Bitcoin is over the last couple of days, we'll go back to it. Did start this on the 7th. So we're on 3 days now. You can see another red line of rising resistance, an upper level of support. This is a rising wedge pattern. Traditionally, these are supposed to break down, but I have seen under bullish catalyst types of situations, this break to the upside. So what I'm doing right now is if we can break above this red line, I'm just continuing to ride my swing long up towards 77,000. If we break below this green line, though, and think about this, it's going to be somewhere in the world of just below 72,000. If my signals start to come in bearish and we break below this green line, I'm going to exit my swing long and probably look to try to accumulate back around $70,000. I don't think this is a long drop down. I still think we want to move up, but I would look for that opportunity to dip in and get a better level on this swing position, take some profit up here closer to 72, buying at 70K. Long story short, though, what we are looking at right now, and I'll show you some of my indicators, daily buy signals are intact. And there are some reversal dots coming in. If you were to look at my kryptonite indicator, for example, there's a red Z-score dot up here, but it's not flashing just yet. Right now, there's a daily buy signal. More importantly, there's a weekly buy signal. This is, started off here on March 9th. It's reaffirmed itself here on March 30th, the week of March 30th. Historically, these levels, I've seen when I go back on my charts, I look at the history of this on Bitcoin, I think it's like a 99. I think there's one time that it hasn't hit it, but it's like, let's call it 95% chance that we should come back and touch the weekly Gaussian band. That weekly Gaussian band is dropping rapidly, is currently around that $79,000, $80,000 mark. But I think in the next couple of weeks, we can see that keep dropping, and around that 77, 78K zone would probably be a pretty perfect resistance level. That's what I'm still watching right now. But we do watch this 1 hour chart. We do acknowledge this and say, hey, we could see a little bit of a reversal here. If talks don't go well and we lose this green line, I'm breaking. I'm gonna look for a better opportunity closer towards 70. I'll still wait for buy signals to come in, but that's how I'm trading Bitcoin right now. In a nutshell, though, I do think we're gonna go further higher than going lower at first. That lower price, people might ask, Tim, did you give up on that sub 60K price prediction? No, I still think it's going to happen. It's just, it turns out we're delaying it. It's not happening right now. Could end up happening a little closer to or right after the Clarity Act passing. I'm thinking May or June area.
All right. So what is your long-term outlook here on Bitcoin for end of year? Let's just say end of year. Do you think we hit another all-time high, or do you think it still struggles in that 75 to 100 range if we're bullish?
Yeah, I mean, let's make sure we revisit this conversation in, let's say, July, August area. I might change this a little bit, but if I'm right that we still have one more leg down, more than likely in May or June. And again, it's hard to know for certain if it's going to be before the Clarity Act as a fake out before it, or they're going to pass the Clarity Act and have a sell the news event and then do it right after. Either way, the charts are showing me, I think one more good leg down should do it for the bottom.
Okay.
But when it comes to Bitcoin, I think if I'm right about my timeline and we start the bullish rally again by June into July, I think Bitcoin could get back to all-time highs. I think it would at least get close. When it comes to altcoins, though, as we know with most bull markets, you're going to let Bitcoin fly a little bit before the altcoins come behind. I'd be decently surprised if altcoins, for the most part, are at their all-time highs. I think they're going to start getting back up towards them. But the only coin let's say there's a lot of altcoins that really could do this. All the blue chip cryptocurrencies, right? I think Bitcoin's the only one that I think really could be at all-time high again. Maybe Ethereum, it didn't drop necessarily as hard as other altcoins, but I think just like other cycles, you'll see that Bitcoin run first. It'll be a little hotter, a little faster. Altcoins trickle behind. We might even start a good altcoin rally by late 2026, but just don't get that momentum to finish the year above all-time highs yet. Early 2027 would probably be the window. Now, I say all that, Paul. If we delay and all of a sudden we're not bottomed out by July, August, well, then Bitcoin's not hitting all-time high. Altcoins for sure aren't hitting all-time highs. In that case, it's really hard to argue with the 4-year cycle continuing, and we won't see a bottom actually until probably September or October. And then there's probably 0% chance of all-time highs hitting before the end of the year.
What about ETH right now? If you were in a short-term trade and you're looking at the two assets, whether it's Bitcoin or ETH, I mean, ETH is up a little bit more in the last 8 days than Bitcoin. Would you go ahead and make that as your primary play, or would you stay with Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, right now in these markets, because Ethereum follows Bitcoin almost to a T, just has some slight differences, it's way easier to read Bitcoin's chart and then just assume things with Ethereum. You know, I actually need to, that line's fine enough. You see Ethereum's different. It's similar, right? This is the Bitcoin chart. It's very similar looking, but Ethereum's a little bit different. Ethereum, for example, a little closer to its trend of resistance that I would be watching for. Could we make a break all the way back up here towards 2,300? Sure. Wick again through this red level of resistance, but there's way more touches on that line, so I'm going to keep it like that. I'm looking at a pretty similar thing going on here. Again, there were some buy signals that came in back here, and we touched support that made our group go longer on Ethereum. Daily buy signals came in here, again, on that same rally. And right now, there's no harsh sell signal coming in just yet. And even more importantly, the weekly buy signal. So what does that say for Ethereum? That means Ethereum, let's go take a look, same indicator here, Smart Pack Toolkit and our Gaussian band. Gaussian band currently around 2,500. Once again, do we see it drop a little bit more closer towards 23, 2,400 by the time we touch it in the next couple weeks? Sure. But as I just showed you, you would have no idea, Paul. If I did this, I went full screen and showed you the RSI, you would not be able to tell right off the bat, am I looking at the Ethereum RSI or am I looking at the Bitcoin RSI? Like, this is the Bitcoin one. I guess there's technically a little difference there, but most people have no idea. These indicators are extremely similar looking back and forth between Ethereum and Bitcoin. So right now, I'm tracking them all as a whole. There are a couple of coins. You go off my screen now. Didn't mean to hit that twice. There are a couple of coins that you definitely can look at and say they're doing their own thing. Think Bint Tensor Tau, think Hype, think Canton. And I know there's others out. Zcash is starting to make a big move, different than the rest of the crypto space. But for the most part, think Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Chainlink. They're identical looking charts for the most part with slight details that differ.
Okay, so a lot of the catalysts coming in on the potential of clarity. You've got Eleanor talking about this. Coinbase is yet to comment directly on where it stands at the current stablecoin yield compromise, but this was a big indicator, which is where Brian was tweeting out, hey, we agree, and grateful for all the bipartisan work. So it seems or appears that Coinbase has accepted something on the bay of getting this through. Of course, Bessent did the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal saying that crypto is now national security. It looks like all indicators are pointing to this might be getting through. And remember, next Monday is a big deal. That means everybody's coming back, and it's likely that we could see something as early as next week. I want to play a clip for you because I wanted to get your opinion on where and what has been the catalyst for Bitcoin here recently, at least. Let's play the Morgan Stanley clip.
Terms of where the market is. But I have to tell you, in terms of the pickup we saw yesterday, the first day of trading, our best first day of trading for any of our ETFs since we've started the ETF product line a couple years ago. So I think that speaks to the demand that's still out there for the Bitcoin ETF. Almost 1.7 million shares traded yesterday, and at 12 o'clock today, we are already having another good day today. As you said, it's a nice week in the market, a nice day in the market for some pickup in Bitcoin and the markets to help us out there. But
and there's a nice.
Do you think it was, well, first of all, welcome to the game, Morgan Stanley. They're now in the game for ETFs, understanding this is kind of how the game is played. Do you think, though, that ETF launch, timing-wise, was one of the catalysts for Bitcoin to get its push, or do you feel it was more driven off of the Iranian situation tamping down slightly?
Yeah, just want to make sure I protect myself.
Oh, God, here we go.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Paul, I think that there's a lot of coordination with why things do what they do. You're asking me which came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know. I don't know which one came first, but it doesn't matter. The coincidence of Morgan Stanley, one of the strongest, wealthiest, powerful banks out there, timing their release of their ETF with the cheapest fees possible, right in line with some buy signals and some details about the Clarity Act that are bullish, details about the Iran peace deal that are bullish. I don't know which one came first, but what I'm saying is, are we really like naive enough to not realize that massive coincidence in timing of how this works? So again, am I going to blame Morgan Stanley and say they were manipulating price the whole time down? Yes, I am. I'm not saying blame them by themselves. I think they're involved in the whole madness. I'll say this about the clip. And by the way, I just showed you guys the charts. I'm bullish. I think we can make a move back up. But I always like to make sure people are aware of these details. Great clip, right? But of course, Morgan Stanley is going to send their representatives out there on television to say it was a great success on day one. Oh, this is the best ETF. Go buy it right now. I'm very bullish on crypto, very bullish on Bitcoin going forward. But I want to make sure people are prepared and ready. It was inevitable that institutions were going to get involved and drive crypto prices, but it's also going to make things a whole lot more crazy and chaotic. I suggest you guys out there, if you want to be successful in investing and trading, get yourself your own tinfoil hat, because the coincidences keep piling up when people do what they do, and then they send these campaigns out. I would not be surprised if there's going to be a massive campaign talking about how successful this ETF is, how successful everything's going. And that's what's going to lead towards when people are saying, Tim, why would you still think that the bottom's not in? Why would you think that we still need to go sub 60K? Everything's shaping up. And that's the problem. When these types of entities are involved and everything looks perfect, it could be the perfect storm to crash things back down. So watch the charts, not Morgan Stanley talking about how successful their ETF is.
Hey, Gordon Gekko loves it. Greed is good. Listen, you're doing, so I'm over on your channel. By the way, if you guys aren't following Tim Warren right there, Tim Warren Trades on YouTube, does a fantastic job. Subscribe to his channel right now. Just pause for a second, hit subscribe button over on Tim Warren. And you put out a couple of 5 best altcoins and the 5 altcoins I just bought. We're breaking down most of those. There's a handful of others that we want to kind of line into. And one of them, of course, when you look at where ETH has been, what do you think about what Standard Charter said right here on ETH? It's 40,000 by 2030? Yeah, that's 40,000 right there.
40,000 by 2030. I don't know if I put a lot of thought into Ethereum price by 2030. So, I think that I don't know if that's actually that crazy, because I think I'd be semi-surprised if Bitcoin hits $1 million by 2030, but I think it's very doable. And if Bitcoin hit $1 million, I think Ethereum could pretty easily hit 40,000. So I don't think it's ridiculous, but I think, and this is coming from somebody who's given predictions that are way too high, way too fast. I'm trying to learn my lesson about being more reasonable. It's doable. I want to make sure it is doable, but I don't think that people right now should just be like, well, I have to go buy Ethereum because it's going to hit 40,000 by 2030. I think you should think about, no, buy Ethereum right now, because fundamentally we are coming into a ridiculous on-ramp from institutions into the crypto market. There's several top 5 videos there. Some of those videos are just coins I'm DCAing. I'm giving my community my weekly DCA picks, what I'm personally spending money on. Doesn't mean they're always the best choices for you. It's what I'm doing, but I thought people would develop that. There's one list on there, the top 5 that'll benefit from the Clarity Act, and of course Ethereum's on that list. Ethereum's an institutionally friendly coin. Institutions are going to love it. But like I just said, it's not going to be very long before Morgan Stanley has their own Ethereum ETF as well. Sure. They're going to manipulate price. So the volume that will come in is going to be amazing. Trading, if you know what you're doing with trading, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these other coins, you're going to do amazing. 40,000 Ethereum by 2030. I'm going to say, let's call it 50-50. It could, because the momentum would be there. But there's also that level of the minute you set a standard and you set a prediction for us retail investors, now you're just setting up the level of which we could fail with our emotions. Like, watch it get to 30,000 and people be like, oh, I'm not going to take profit. We're going another 10,000 over the 40. And then we start a longer bear market. And of course, we're not at 40,000 by 2030. That's now the way I'm viewing it. Just not getting my hopes too high or too crazy with those timetables.
Can you chart Solana for us real quick? Because I'm kind of curious in the short term, if we're trading it during the Clarity expansion that most likely will happen, is this a good time maybe to take a trade on Solana?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at the Solana chart right now, I had two big marks. One of them actually had got hit already, and we could double bottom there as well. But two big marks. I had 67. These are marks, by the way, I put like back up here in potential. No, let's see, I didn't do them in November. I did them over here in January. I apologize. We hit one, right? So we had a great buy signal in our community at 68. The next one, there is this world in which I think Solana could hit $50.
Whoa. Okay.
The closer we're getting there and the more things we're doing, I'm going to say I would probably put it at more like a 70-30. I think there's probably more 70% chance we're bouncing more in this range than dropping all the way to 50, but I'm not going to take 50 off the table. I just would have thought to make that move, we probably would have needed to either continue to drain sideways this way, or we needed to make a bigger fall when we did, and we just didn't do either one of those. So right now, I think, if you could get a move back here, like I said, Solana or Ethereum, Bitcoin, I'm not convinced the bottom's in. If their bottoms aren't in, neither is Solana's necessarily. We at least could come back and double bottom. You're going to be waiting, though, because just like the others, take a look at these indicators. Here's my more conservative one. Fresh daily buy signal here. Fresh weekly buy signals coming in. This is not the time to be shorting, and I don't think it's quite the time to take profit either. Same thing we'll look at here. That was a scam wick. Pay no attention to this wick on Solana's chart that jumped up to 183. It's just a scam wick on the Binance chart, which happens frequently. There's a Gaussian band up here at 100. I'd look back at this wick here closer to 95, 96. Somewhere in that range, I would anticipate Solana will bounce back up. I'll put a little box right there. Somewhere right in here, I would anticipate Solana is going to probably bounce. But then what will the news be? I don't know. I'll be looking for daily sell signals, strong daily sell signals, probably daily bearish divergence. And then I'll look to see, hey, can we get this move back down? I'll accumulate some down here at 69. We'll see. Like if we hit 69 and Bitcoin is just getting back down to like 65, 64, then all of a sudden I'm looking at Solana chart saying, all right, $50 looking a lot more reasonable. But if we're sitting at 68, 69, and you look at the Bitcoin chart and Bitcoin's price is actually sitting down here around 57, 60 to 57 zone, that's when I would say, okay, Solana probably not getting to that $50 mark. So it is going to depend upon where is Bitcoin's price, where is Ethereum's price, and then at the same time, where is Solana's price? That'll tell us, do we just resettle for sub $70, or are we waiting all the way down for $50 per coin?
So I'm not sure. Are you bearish or bullish on this? Short term, you're bullish.
Well, I'm a day trader, right? So emotionally, I've removed the short term bullish or bearish thoughts. I'm just following the charts. I am so very bullish long term on Solana, but I'm bearish in the sense of saying, if you ask me the question, Tim, do you think that Solana's bottoms in and it's nothing but upward from here? No, I can't tell you that. I still think we could at least double bottom down towards 70.
All right, so let's take a look at Chainlink. Aave DAO now deepens the partnership. This is a big deal as the oracle of Aave, which Aave is going to be an absolute, behemoth. When you look at Chainlink right now, because this is the token that I know has been on your skyrocket list for quite some time.
Right.
Where do you position right now in terms of Chainlink on the charts?
I mean, it's the same thing with Solana, right? So you asked me, Tim, am I bullish or bearish? This is my chart, right? So when I do my charts, I kind of ignore the fundamentals, and I'm just charting this right now. Fundamentally, Chainlink is going to make it. Fundamentally, Solana is going to make it. But right now, chart-wise, you could make the argument this is a disappointing-looking chart compared to an Ethereum or a Bitcoin chart. So this isn't the Chainlink zone right now. It's repping up for that. I think Chainlink, again, just like the others, right? We got these daily buy signals. We got the weekly buy signals coming in here. We just had the weekly MACD bullish cross, which is huge to get that as well. So where are we looking? Let's pull up our Gaussian band here. We're looking somewhere, again, back towards $10. I think $10. Could you go higher? By the way, you don't have to stop right on the wick there. You could go higher. I had this box weeks ago. I said that almost $11 could get hit to the upside. The problem with that call now is that Chainlink just didn't make the same momentum move that Bitcoin and Ethereum did. So that's why I'm kind of sitting here saying $10 to $11 range is probably a more realistic upside pick. To the downside, let's go. Remember I told you Solana, that first window was closer to $70. My window for Chainlink will be the double bottom pick down here towards 720, 730 would be my area to watch in this green box. But a doomsday scenario, right? The same thing with Solana to $50. Chainlink could come back to $650. And this doesn't make me bearish. It just makes me chart wise realistic. By the way, this would also what I would love to see here, and I talk about this with Bitcoin all the time, but it's going to be the same way with Chainlink and Solana. This is a consistent lower lows on the RSI with the lower lows of the price action. Historically, the greatest bottoms happen when you see one more lower low. Let's turn some noise off here, right? One more lower low. So let's pretend Chainlink makes this move with my marker. Chainlink makes this move up here towards $10 and then comes back down here and puts in a lower low with candle body closes, right? I need that. And then I come back to RSI. Let's take a look at the RSI. In the same time period, I would need the RSI. This will pop up to come down and put in a higher low. And then all of a sudden, I've got a momentum rising in my RSI while I'm looking over here and I still had one more leg down. Historically, these divergences have been the major bottoms on the weekly chart. So that's another big reason why I'm not convinced the bottom's in yet. We don't have daily bullish divergence. We definitely don't have weekly bullish divergence. We at least need a daily one. And to do that, guess what price has to do? It has to go put in one more lower low.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Tim, we're going to do a lightning round on some predictions, and let's lead off with this one right now. Clarity markup date announced on Monday. Congress is back in. All of these other signals, what do you think? Yes, no?
Is the 13th Monday?
Yeah.
They don't do anything fast. No, I'm gonna hold off and say Tuesday. No one does anything fast in Washington, D.C. They're going to get back and just put their feet up on their desk and give it a couple hours. So
I'm going to go ahead and be the contrarian there. I'll say yes.
You be the optimist in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Clarity signed by Trump by July 4th.
Yes. Yeah. I think everything I've said so far leads to that timeline being accurate.
Okay. So we're both on the same page there. Surprise. Banks lose and passive stablecoin yields are codified in Clarity. What do you think?
I mean, with what the White House said, now Brian Armstrong seems to be about passing this bill. Yeah, I mean, okay, I love the answer. Yes, possible. Let's go.
You like possible?
I like possible.
All right. I don't think so. I think it's impossible. I don't think they lose. I think they've got a deal and they've fatigued the industry and it's going to be active. It's going to be a split. Passive is gone, active is in, and we're going to have to get creative. Coinbase stock skyrockets upon Clarity passing.
Yeah, this is where it's hard. It depends on so I know you want a yes or no from me. It depends on where the price is. If it passes with us being high, then the answer is no, because I think we need to go down. Yeah. I'm thinking that we can get that. I think there's going to be a shakeup in the Senate or the House that causes fear to crash the markets. So I want to go with yes. Yes, it explodes. But if we do not have that dip before it passes, then my assumption is going to be there's going to be a sell the news event, and then the answer is no. But let's go with yes. I'll stick with yes for now. I'm
staying on the no camp.
Okay.
Tom Lee makes a historical massive purchase for ETH after Clarity passes like he did after Genius Act. You think he will?
So go back to it. Sorry, it's blurry from where I'm seeing it.
Tom Lee makes a huge purchase on ETH.
Yeah.
Right now he's been averaging about 70,000 ETH per purchase. Yeah. Well, it's been coming up 50, 60, 70. Our number is 100,000. When we say he hits 100, then we know bottom's in.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he will use that as an opportunity again. He's the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. So
yeah, I'm with you there. Okay. Market already expects Israel breaking the ceasefire negotiations. Do you think they already expect this? It's priced in.
No, the market doesn't expect it. If it expected it, we'd be dropping. So no, it doesn't expect it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they do. I think they know, where Israel is and where they're always going to be, no matter what. Better centralized.
The SPY's sitting pretty high. I know we don't talk stocks all the time, but the SPY's sitting there at 680 right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, I talked to a professor this morning that still is pointing at a 8,000 SPX.
Okay.
By end of year.
High?
Yeah,
by end of year.
For the end of year.
I think it could happen even with a slow correction down towards 611, which would be 6,100. I know the SPY and the SPX are different, but I still think just like crypto, I think you go one more leg down and then you explode up again too. I think the SPY definitely could hit. 8,000 might be a little high for my liking, but I definitely think new all-time highs.
Better centralized chain to invest in right now, Canton or Hood?
Yeah, I think let's go ROI here. I think Canton's new. It's special. It's got both the crypto side and the bank side. So let's go Canton.
So you're going to go Canton. I have to go anti so I can stay on the anti-Canton chain.
There we go.
Train.
There we go.
You know, I have to do that. Just, you know. World Liberty Fi collapses before the midterms.
Oh, wow.
Remember, they sold 49% of this to the Middle East in February. I
don't stay up to date with what World Liberty Fi is doing. So that's news to me, what you just said. I'm still going to say unlikely.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this might happen. This might happen.
That would be very.
Which chain? Yeah, that would be something. Which chain benefits the most from midterm election prediction market season?
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Solana because I think, again, Ethereum's got a hot hand right now, so we're looking that far out. I think tides will turn and Solana will have it'll have extra room to have a bigger rally.
I'm gonna go with ETH on that one.
Go for it.
I like it, man. We're on different sides.
We're splitting here. Yeah, we're splitting nicely here.
Apparently, the only safe AI tokens to hold now are ETH and Chainlink.
No, I disagree, but it also depends on what your definition of safe is. I would make the argument you can make the argument neither of those are safe, but I think they are. And if I'm going to say those are safe, there's other plays I would say as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tau. I think if we're talking about AI in the crypto space, I think BitTensor Tau is a safe pick if you're going to go with those two.
Wait a minute. We don't want him to say that.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So is it news? Is it? Yeah, so BitTensor Tau just dumped 10 million. Was that today?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday.
There's a major flood campaign. I don't know if I fully believe what's happening there, though. But
oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying it's real. But
I don't know. There's something about the guy that spread the story. There's some details about him supposedly that he's not the cleanest whistle in the cabinet.
Okay. You guys are at it. Okay. All right. Well, listen. So you disagree on this or you agree? ETH or Chainlink?
Yeah, I think if you're going to say Ethereum and Chainlink are safe for the AI space, there's other coins out there as well. So I'm going to say I disagree.
Okay, you say you disagree. I'm going to say these are the two front runners right now.
They probably are the front runners. I agree with that. They are the front runners, but
they're I'll go with the front runners on the safety side.
Yeah.
Elon censoring Twitter in 2026 leads to the rise of polymarket social. You saw the news on Twitter where if you're a new account and you're tweeting about crypto, you got to do KYC. Have you heard this?
No, I didn't see this.
Yeah, this is a whole new process for getting an account on X. So
interesting.
Where would you stand on that? You think it would?
Yeah, some of these are making me. I've never even thought about these questions before. Let's go agree because I think polymarket social is going to want to be a thing anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, listen, it's always fun chatting with you on Fridays. We'll get you back in soon, and hopefully next time I talk to you, clarity will be ready.
Let's hope.
If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.